on, man? How you doing?
There we go. Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. I hear you too. What's up, man? How you doing today?
Life is beautiful, man. It's a nice Saturday. We have great fights today. There's a boxing on now, and then there's, UFC coming up, and then tonight more boxing on DAZN. I call it DAZN. I think it's called pronounced something else, but who cares?
Yeah, I was about to say I like your pronunciation because I don't know how to say it either.
DAZN or whatever the fuck it's
Yeah,
DAZN. We're in the South, so we make everything lazy down here.
exactly. I like it.
I'm excited for your pick. So this is a new segment for people that are joining. We have somebody. It's one thing for other people to sort of chime in. It's another when you have a fighter that's in that world, that knows people, that knows the teams, that understands who's technical, who isn't. So it doesn't mean that you're going to get it right every time, but it certainly is an advantage when making these picks. So we'll do 1 to 3 every week. This will be your segment, and I'll throw in my chime in with my horse shit along the way and see what we think. So what do you got, and who do you like this week?
I will go with the first. I'll go with the headliner with Thiago Santos and Jamal Hill.
Okay.
I really like Jamal Hill in that fight. You look at Jamal Hill, a little bit younger. Santos is late 30s now,
Yeah.
and it seems like forever ago that he fought John to that real close split decision on destroyed knees. Looked excellent. And I mean, the guy was out there slaying people leading up to that. But since then, he's just been kind of tapered off. And I think a lot of that had to do with the guy's obviously been training multiple years of his life, but I feel like he was in that little prime point and then taken so long off from the surgeries because I think he had to get both knees reconstructed. I think that hurt his career. He was in a really good spot, and now Jamal Hill, on the other hand, that guy, I was a little iffy on him at first, but I think he's a real deal. I think he's a top 5 light heavyweight. The guy hits like he's got a cannon in his fist. I mean, and his one loss, he's got one loss to Paul Craig, and then they took a fight away from him for marijuana tests. Crazy, right? But his one loss was to Paul Craig, and Paul Craig, if you sleep on that guy, he's triangling you from whatever country he's from. That Paul Craig's a wizard. But Jamal Hill, that's his only loss, and he's beat some pretty good guys. And I think it was last fight, just that picture of Johnny Walker's face scrunched up. I mean, he's the real deal. I like Jamal Hill easy in that fight. I would imagine he's the favorite in that fight. We do with Santos' age.
He is, but it's not a massive. He's definitely the favorite, but I think that's a great pick. I have my eye on the Pauga Usman fight. So it's for the heavyweight UFC champion, I guess the Ultimate Fighting Champion heavyweight bout.
Yep.
And Usman is the brother of the legendary Usman. That's one of the greatest fighters in history. So talk about a big shadow to come in, right?
Yeah, and he's got a lot of pro fights. I think he's got double-digit fights. I looked at who's fighting, and I didn't look at that fight too much because I did watch a fight of him in a different fight league, and I'm totally wrong in thinking that he gassed out in the fight.
You're probably right. You're probably right. He's had some moments and he's had some disappointments, and he's actually going
right.
Pauga is an animal. Pauga was a pro athlete, played on the Houston Texans for years. He's very physical, very strong. His double legs are what you'd expect from a pro football player. He's getting better and better, and he's got a nasty ground and pound, and his stand-up is very sophisticated. Like he does a lot of feigning. He sets up his shots. He uses a lot of body kicking, and for a big man, he's got that head kick. A lot of big men don't even try it. At the heavyweight level, they don't go for that head kick. This cat has the athleticism. I think it's going to be a very bad night for Usman's brother in that fight. I watched all 5 of the wins of Pauga and his highlights. His last fight was a tough fight. He got the decision. But he's mauling people, man. He's really physical out there, and I think it's, if he keeps getting better, he's going to be a problem at that heavyweight division.
And going on with the power thing, the heavyweight is such an interesting thing to me because first off, I love Derek Lewis, but I mean, you got a guy who openly admitted, and I kind of take it with a grain of salt, but at the same time, I think he's serious. Who's years ago said he's like, I train 30 minutes a day, man. It's like if you got the power and can just stop people, it's an interesting situation because that's what a lot of these guys got. And then you get these freak anomalies like the Tom Aspinalls and Cyril Gons, who are those full fighter packages, the full grappler, striker. And I think we're starting to see the heavyweight division slide away from guys who are just looking for that, like the Shane Carwins who go out there and just, I'm going to hit you once, you're going to bed. And now we're getting into these more technical guys. But Palga, he's like you said, that guy's a freight train. I mean, if he sees blood in the water, he's coming. He's going to tear you up.
His ground and pound's nasty, as you would expect again from a physical. You start having those elbows drop from him, and it's not a good situation. He splits open a lot of people on the ground. But yeah, technically, the heavyweight division, even Ngannou's last fight, he was kind of known as that, one punch guy. He's not that guy anymore. He's actually a hell of a technical fighter, and his wrestling and jiu-jitsu is really taken off. It's rather remarkable that a guy with that much talent and that much strength naturally is becoming a technical fighter to that degree, because usually it's pretty easy to rely on just putting people to sleep when you tap them. That can be addictive. But yeah, it's that division's pretty crazy, man. There's some good heavyweights coming up. Did you see Nicholson's last fight, Spartan?
No, I did not.
He's won 5 in a row, and he's making it look easy. He's barely getting hit, and he's fought all different types of fighters. But he's become one of those technical fighters. This time, he actually submitted somebody. Which
what was the last card he was on?
It was a it was a championship that he won. Let me answer that smartly by actually going to his site. But there's so many different fight leagues, but he's got a couple championships now. He's got a kickboxing one, and let me see, he is Titan FC.
Okay, Titan's starting to become one of the bigger regional cards as well too. So that's saying, I feel like now we're shifting into like, don't get me wrong on this. If you're a pro in this sport, you're obviously a good fighter, but there's a lot of guys who just go pro and they're not ready. Yeah, they kind of have no business going pro. But I feel that a lot of, if you're fighting in, these are the ones that got on my mind: LFA, CFFC, Titan as well. You're ahead of the crop, so to say. You got to do a lot to get on those regional promotions. So I think if you're beating guys on that, you got it's like I was saying, like a feeder league, like a single A team for baseball. At any point, it's like, oh, we got a guy hurt, we need a pitcher, let's pull a guy from our single A team. I think we're starting to see a lot more of that. The talent, I think we were talking about it with Jimmy last, that the age that a lot of these guys are starting at jiu-jitsu and stuff like that is, we're seeing a catch up. Like, guys are coming to the UFC at 18, 19 now, and that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, they're so freaking technical, and there's new moves. The leg stuff and the heel hooks has just opened up a whole different part of the sport. The calf kicks have opened up a whole different part of the sport. To defend against. You've got so much to defend against now. The chess is pretty much unlimited. Even watching some of these grappling tournaments, man, the level of grappling for gi or no gi, you're like, what the fuck is going on out there? These little spider monkeys, these guys are doing work.
Seeing guys doing arm drags standing and climbing to people's backs and choking them while they're standing up. It's like, man, you can't make this up. This is crazy.
Hanging triangles. Some people, I was listening to, I sent you sent you the guy's name the other day. I'm just bad with names, but he was on. He was the grappler. Shit. I just had his phone. Mike something.
Mikey Musumeci, yep.
Yeah, Mikey Musumeci. He was talking about in a championship match that he did. He actually let the champion get a hold of him. Knew exactly the leverage of the angle. He's like, he's gonna go for it. I'm gonna give it to him and let him try, and I'm gonna take the angle for the submission away, and I'm gonna use that as my transition to submit him. And he knew it was gonna happen. He did it in the match, and that's what he closed the match with. And I'm like, holy fuck. Like
see, that's the next level stuff with jiu-jitsu. When you can read a guy's game, know exactly what he's going to do from each position, and be able to
offer it to him.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like I know he's going to do this. I'm going to give it to him. I got my defense for it, and then I'm going to go finish him off of it. Just that's the kind of high level consequences. Like Joe Rogan says, it's high level chess with high level consequences. It really is.
Yeah, the way he trains is really interesting. He trains with hobbyists. So they're all now blue belts or above, but they really came in as just hobbyists.
Yeah.
And they train in his garage. He doesn't train at any camp. He goes in and works on specific things that he wants to solve, like how he'll work with this situation or that. And the other guys come in and roll with him to help him. They get better, because he's putting him in situations that he wants to try to solve. And then he's reverse engineering. So he just reverse engineers all of his chess moves, which is pretty freaking cool. But I've never heard anybody, training with, hobbyists at that level. And he's looked like the nerdiest guy in the world too. And he's just
he's one of those guys that Jimmy calls a nerd assassin. That's he'll go out there and he can put some harm on people. Gordon Ryan, I imagine there's people before him, but Gordon Ryan's the one who was openly, publicly talking about it, that I can get better training with anyone. I put myself in the worst absolute positions. If I put myself in an armbar position, I tell them, try to finish it. And I work to escape off of the finishing error. Put me in a rear naked choke. I'm going to try to escape. And like you said, the term reverse engineering, that's perfect because they're working backwards. Like, all right, I'm in trouble. I need to escape. I'm starting in shit every time because realistically at Mikey's level training with hobbyists, he's never going to get his back taken by these guys. It's just that's how he's a whole different stratosphere above these people.
Yeah.
And he's never going to be in a situation where he's getting his back taken and in danger of getting a choke. So it's like, let me just start here. So when I do go up against people my level, I'm used to being here. I'm used to being here against guys who have an understanding of the sport, but do a little bit different stuff. Because I've said this mentality before of the lion chasing the zebra. Sometimes when you get to play, you start playing jiu-jitsu at really high levels. Like you start knowing what to expect. You know what they have there for options and know how to defend it based on what they're doing. When you're rolling with a guy who isn't that jiu-jitsu savvy, kind of like I don't want to say, I'll use a wrestler or no jiu-jitsu background. Some of these guys are moving in ways you aren't used to, and you're kind of like, oh shit, now what? So there's that aspect too, which is really another layer to the game, to be honest.
Yeah, you've got certain things that you're expecting people to do, and they're just doing the opposite. You're like, oh fuck, what the hell? Where am I right now? Why is this asshole in my face right now? I don't like this at all.
Right.
Do you ever watch the what is it, the Rutello brothers? Do you know those guys?
Yeah, Ty and Cade. They're those dudes are, again, two young individuals that started way early on in life, and now they're way ahead of their time. They're ahead of grown ass men, which is crazy. Like they don't even have their adult strength yet, and they're out there. Like I think Ty submitted Gary Tonin, who was 3-4 years ago one of the best grapplers in the world. He went out there and choked him out. I think he darsed him in less than 2 minutes, which is insane. Like everyone gets caught, but man, it's just crazy because I think Gary's been training for as long as he's been alive. It just shows you how much the game's evolving. What
an advantage to have a twin brother that you're grappling with too, because you can basically, every single second you can train. It's not like you're stuck in the gym. You come home, have dinner, you're back on the floor just fucking each other up, for as long as you want. But those two are at such a high level. It's ridiculous. What age do you see, or what age do you think is appropriate to get your kid into jiu-jitsu? Or what do you
I
see?
think I think as soon as they can, we throw kids in kindergarten at 5. I think that's a good age at 5 too, because they start having they're able to have a concept of things like you're starting to have that. I like to think that you really start remembering things when you're 2 or 3 years old. And like I said, like I remember kindergarten pretty well, surprisingly, and it's been 24 years, but I think 5 is a good age because that way you can start instilling, the brain is still developing. You can teach like those life lessons, those moments that they'll remember. And you can also teach them things to start getting the muscle memory down at an early age as well. So I think 5 is a real competent age for a kid.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. I'm kind of, working through those planning stages now, right? Try to
You gotta have the plan laid out already, right?
Yeah, tell Titus to choke out his first teacher in kindergarten and set the stage for the rest of them to get straight
Yeah,
in.
let them all know
Yeah.
I'm going to this school.
Yeah, this is my school now. No, I would be a little appalled, that the government would be at my door going, we need to talk to you, Eric, about your child. We've seen your podcast too. So this is awesome, man. I'm excited for the card. I think that's a really, really good pick. The one you have, I think you and I are probably looking at 2 wins. Hill over Santos. I have Pago over Usman. I'm excited for both of those. I'm actually excited for the battle Sato fight too.
I think Battle might get the edge in that one.
Yeah, I think so too. That wasn't as strong a play, but we'll stick with that. If anybody out there is betting, let's do this. If this is cool, let's do it, at your convenience every week. Let's pick your brain and let's start tracking the chalking up the W's. And you have a fight. You're back on the card pretty soon, right?
We're not, I've already given you a little detail, but it's supposed to be it's totally fine. Everyone knows that I got another fight coming up. I'll be back. I'll be returning back in November shortly, so it'll be one for the people. A lot of people will enjoy the matchup, so it's good.
I can't wait, man. I'm excited. We're big fans here. I like you personally, professionally, and every other way. And thank you for joining. And have a great weekend. You and I'm sure we'll be texting back and forth here as the fights get kicked off. But love you, Theo, brother. Have a good day, and we'll catch up.
Eric.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a good night.